Thursday. Today on One, your daily dose of local affairs and social media commentary. Today on One, over 300 learners across the country test positive for COVID-19. Churches want public gathering regulation changed. President's birthday contributions redirected to COVID-19 frontline workers. And increase in suicides worrisome.
The All People's Party recently aired concern about a positive COVID-19 case in Rundu, where a learner was allowed to resume face-to-face classes even after her results came back positive. The health minister, during a recent COVID-19 update, announced that over 300 learners across the country tested positive for COVID-19, with nearly half of them being recorded in semi-rural regions. The Oshikoto region recorded the highest number, with 170 positive cases, compared to more urbanized regions such as Komas with 68 and Irongo with 35 cases respectively. During a recent press conference in the capital, the Secretary General of the APP, Vincent Kanyetu, alleged that a secondary school in Rundu ignored the health ministry's directives by not suspending classes after a learner tested positive for COVID-19.
There was a positive case detected amongst one of the learners at that school. And until now, as we speak, the school is not suspended. Learners are still going to school. Even now, learners are in class. So now, we are worried that come next week or after next week, we are actually going to have a lot of cases in Rundu, because for 4 days this child went to school. Even after the result came out that she is positive, she's still at school, and she had a lot of contact. Yesterday I got informed by the health health workers in Rundu that this child actually has a lot of contacts.
The health minister, who delivered the health update via telephone, also expressed that this observation of positive COVID-19 cases among learners demonstrates that there is an active transmission. Hence, the ministry continues to encourage the adherence to preventative measures in schools and other closed settings. Kanyetu urged the ministry and other stakeholders to cease from delaying the actionable guidelines by the ministry aimed at containing the transmission of the virus, especially at schools and other closed settings.
By the time we are going to come to a conclusion whether we suspend classes at this school or not, we are going to have the whole school affected. And what are we going to do? Who's going to be responsible? So I then call upon everybody, whether government institutions or private, whenever we have cases, we should not delay to suspend work or classes. We must act fast, because we understand this virus is very fast as well.
Other semi-rural regions which recorded new positive cases among pupils include Hardap with 21, Oshana 17, Karas 15, Ochizonjupa 7, Kavango 4, Omaheke 4, Ohangwena 3, and Omusati 1. Kunene and Zambezi recorded 0 new COVID-19 cases among learners.
Alliance of Christian Churches in Namibia, ACCN, wants the government to consider increasing the number of people at public gatherings so that members of the church can attend Sunday service and other church-related activities.
Limit should not be restricted by a number of people or to a number of people to attend, but by the building seating capacity. Having observed the 1.5 meter seating distance, some churches have the capacity to seat more than 50 people, as we know.
ACC member Bishop Lucas Katenda said that the government should not put the church in the same boat as Shebeens.
To seriously look into the issue of accessibility of alcohol, it is wide open, and when you are opening the Shebeens at times when people need to be at home and when people need to be observing social distancing, then you are creating a problem. That's why we are saying the church cannot be ranked with the Shebeens, because at church we are serious. We would like to be people of discipline and obedience. As we are obedient to God, we are obedient to governments, because we believe governments come from God. But at the same time, we believe that as much as we do not want to ban alcohol, we would like also to call for the regulation of ours. Perhaps ours must be reduced.
Bishop Katenda added that churches have a role to play during the COVID-19 period to assist people with their mental health.
When we are appealing that we are the essential service providers, it's because we know that we are a spiritually therapeutic intervention instrument. The government can't intervene spiritually. And when, since all this COVID came up, gatherings are restricted, people are on their own, their spirit is very much dead. And all kinds of things are happening as we have never heard before. And therefore the church is appealing that the gatherings must be allowed to be a little bit more, so that our people can continue to rehabilitate their spirits.
The ACCN is calling on parents to talk to their children not to go to nightclubs, as it increases the spread of COVID-19.
As a token of appreciation, the head of state through the One Economy Foundation facilitated 57 care packages and lunches for COVID-19 frontline workers of the Robert Mugabe Clinic, the Rapid Response Team, case management staff and healthcare workers stationed at the Hosea Kutako International Airport. The gesture was at the request of the head of state in celebration of his 79th birthday, where he directed that his birthday contributions be instead forwarded directly to the National COVID-19 Response Bank account. At the handover, the First Lady expressed gratitude towards the frontline team.
So the fear and anxiety is certainly the same for all of us, but COVID doesn't impact us the same because there's direct and indirect consequences of COVID. And the COVID-19 pandemic has really highlighted how much society relies on essential workers. It's also helped us expand the definition of who essential workers are. Cleaners, drivers, contact tracers, police officers. There are many people who are essential workers that we don't directly recognize. So I think the term healthcare worker is relatively specific, but the word essential worker is a little bit more expanded thanks to COVID. And since the outbreak of the pandemic, essential workers have been exposed to a higher risk of infection and emotional trauma from the virus while carrying out their day-to-day work. Now more than ever, during this time and in the future, please take care of yourselves. When you get on a plane, they always say that in case of an incident, please put on your oxygen mask first before you help anybody else. And the truth behind that is that you cannot help somebody else if you yourself are in need of assistance. So please do look after yourself. As much as we say put on your face mask, sanitize your hands, we also need to say we must also practice self-care.
The National COVID-19 Contact Tracing Lead at the occasion thanked the Head of State and the First Lady for the support, adding that they have so far been able to trace 24,648 contacts in all 14 regions that were linked to confirmed cases, of which 6,550 are linked to COVID-19 cases in Khomas.
This team do much of the work because, as alluded earlier, I don't want to dilute anything what the First Lady has said. They talked and interviewed cases to identify. So they have large group of number of people to talk to. First thing, they talk to the confirmed cases. Once they talk to the confirmed cases, then to investigate, starting with their movements, just to know who were they, where were they, and who were they with, just to be able to identify. So once now they have spoken to or they have interviewed the cases, then they now come down to talk to the contacts, the people that were exposed to these individual confirmed cases, just to understand the nature of contacts or the nature of exposure they had, for us to understand and to be able to verify and clarify if they are really contacts or not contacts. And then from there, once they are identified, then now they have to monitor them on daily basis to see how or to see the progression of their health status.
Mutikisha added that contact tracing is vital for the prevention of further transmission of the virus.
Win free airtime with #LearnOn1. Share your comments on the lessons. SMS your feedback, name and town to 555. #LearnOn1. Invite learning in.
Suicides have become a norm among societies in Namibia. According to the World Health Organization, close to 800,000 people die by suicide every year. Despite the fact that suicides are preventable, Today on One spoke to Gezela Kalipi, intern clinical psychologist at Bell Esprit in Windhoek, on the root causes of suicides.
Various reasons as to why people attempt to take their own lives, and they range from a lot of psychological to social factors. So when you're looking at psychological factors, it could be that the person experiences some sort of mental illness, and then they feel a sense of hopelessness, and this is always a reason as to why some people then decide that life is not worth living anymore. And now when we're looking at the current status of the country we look at things like, the economic depression, which is being caused currently by the pandemic. There is a lot of uncertainty with what is happening in the world. People are losing their jobs. People are losing contact, due to the social distancing as well. And all of these reasons are actually contributing to the sense of isolation and withdrawal and sense of hopelessness that individuals are feeling on a daily basis. So it boils down to people really just not having any sense of connection, no sense of certainty about anything, and that also contributes to how low they feel in their lives, and it may prompt them or trigger them to then end their own life.
Zachary, the initiator for No to Gender-Based Death Initiative, said that most attempt to commit suicide mostly because of hunger and the lack of sense of belonging.
The issue of suicide it's becoming alarming. This period of the year, normally it takes place. So what we can do right now is to see how we can prevent it. And we need to start speaking to the mindsets of the members of the public. Suicide is never the best solution, because you'll be putting your family members into pain, into shame, especially the ones that have children. I'm just encouraging family members, when you find out there's a tendency for suicide, report and cry out for help. There's the Ministry of Health, the hospital is there, the police stations are there. There are some people in the public that can be of great assistance. And you are going through that emotional stress or whatever it is that is prompting you into committing suicide, most times it's because people remain silent. That's why this happens. But if they speak out, they'll get assistance.
For well-being and support when feeling suicidal, members of the public are advised to seek help and talk to a professional or call the Lifeline Childline toll-free number at 116.
We've been drifting, lost at sea. You're so far.
Bring the family together with great specials, like Crossing Blackwell Tangy Mayonnaise for only $23.99 and Kellogg's Cornflakes for just $41.99.
I'll be your lighthouse and bring you back to me.
We're here for you.
Briefing the media and public on the outcome of the governmental objectives on fishing quotas for hake, horse mackerel and monk, the Minister of Finance, Ipumbu Shimi, said that the final results of the auction process, after 2 rounds of negotiations with successful bidders, only 5 bidders managed to take up their offers and settle their payment obligations, which amounted to over 8 million Namibia dollars. Government recently decided to sell the fish quota for governmental objectives through a competitive auction to the highest bidder, with the aim to determine the correct value of Namibia's fishery resources and ensuring that the country fully benefits from her natural resources. The bidders that have fulfilled their payment obligations have started harvesting their respective quotas allocated to them. The minister further noted that given the outcome of the auction, there are still unallocated quotas for different species. These are hake, 10,900 metric tons, horse mackerel, 70,483 metric tons, and monk, 92 metric tons. On the way forward, the minister said that the technical committee has been directed to plan future government objective fish quota auctions for the next season for hake and horse mackerel, starting in November 2020 and January 2021. Punitive measures will be introduced, including requirements for payment guarantees or bid securities before participation in the auction, which will ensure that bidders meet their financial commitments and mitigate the risk of speculative bids. More time will be given to bidders to arrange their finances, as they will be required to prove that they have access to fishing vessels. Shimi further stated that the first auction did not yield the desired outcome, but that government gained significant insight from the process. He is therefore appealing to fellow Namibians, the fishing sector, local and international players to work closely with and not against government for the country to realize her noble objectives.
Welcome to Comments Corner, your daily dose of local comments from the hottest social media pages.
The The Landless People's Movement is calling out the City of Windhoek spokesperson for not giving accurate information regarding the family that has recently been evicted in the Axterline informal settlement. The previous owner has provided documentations and photos to prove that he has been residing on the plot since 2008, as City of Windhoek only sold the land in 2011. According to the evicted owner, he had multiple meetings with the City of Windhoek CEO Robert Kaimise, who had promised him that no one with a structure will be removed. Bedouin said the City of Windhoek is a corrupt entity and they have no compassion for the poor and homeless. Hannett said that the entire citizens will not be able to trust the City of Windhoek as they never have their facts in order. Emmanuel said they should provide legal documents or else they should relocate. Residents from Okahanja, Ian Kama suburb, claim to have been forgotten by their town's municipalities since their right to decent sanitation as well as other basic needs no longer exist. Romans say they keep voting for injured donkeys and expect change. Franciscus questioned what are the current politicians paid for if things keep worsening by the day. Ialo questioned if there are no other employees in the municipality's office that can assist the people. Kapuka advises that in the upcoming elections they should vote wisely.
And that is all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day only on Today and One.
With trusted quality and great value on all Clicks brand products, switch and save. Buy Clicks effervescent granules 120 grams 2 for $108. Buy Clicks paracetamol 500 milligrams 24 tablets 2 for $34. Buy Clicks antibacterial cleaning products 750 mils from only $43.99 each. Buy Clicks thick bleach 750 mils $26.49 each. Clicks, feel good, pay less.
Degrade women, for me, number one, I am not there because that is basically what I don't believe in. I don't stand for things that degrade women.
What do you think we can add? What do we put in the basket? First of all, let's put Blossom back in the basket.
Look at the person like, man, let's do a song.
Let's do something.
Just
let's
like
collaborate.
Let's collaborate.
The Americans were claiming us.
Yes, exactly. To the rest of the world, they belong to us. Namibia, Baba, Namibia.
I'll help you carry on.
Creating music and putting some stuff out for the people who've been supporting me, that's definitely something that's next on my list.
A look at the weather forecast. First, an advisory from the Windhoek Met Office. Cold conditions will prevail in the Clarus region tomorrow. The Namibia interior partly cloudy and hot to very hot in the extreme northeast with a few thunder showers, but partly cloudy and cold to cool in the Clouders region with a few showers in the extreme southwest. Elsewhere, partly cloudy and cool to warm, but hot to very hot in the north. The coast, partly cloudy and cold to cool, and the wind moderate to fresh westerly. Now we look at minimum and maximum temperatures across the country and beyond.
Alelele mama, amala la lelele. Oh, shake it for Africa, eh, do it for Africa. Mama lelele, oh lelele mama, oh shake it for Africa. Oh, you rise up and stand up for Africa.
See the whole world be looking at us, yeah, 'cause our land is honey, all the future money, and see now, see Akijima, no, Asilali. See, it's Sandy Mali, they want it, yo, they need it, man, we have it, yes, let the world come and taste this beautiful land, they want it, oh, they need it, yeah, we have it, let the world come and taste this beautiful land now.
To be a part of this continent, all your sisters and your brothers and your friends, let's get together, let's hold hands and let us dance. Let's unite and give ourselves another chance. I see the walk out for road, you can see many things, everything they happen pretty the jolly. Oh yeah, now let Africa be great. And in the sun or the rain or the street and the fame, we still they get together because let Africa be great. Nelson Mandela, Lupita Nyong'o, Desmond Tutu, African immigrants. Oh, Barack Obama, Kwame Nkrumah, all my freedom fighters.
You know what time it is? Let's go, come on. Africa stand up, everybody move, make it see your hands out. We came a long way, so now we can't stop. Free for life, we're taking off the handcuffs. We came to spread love through the sea breeze. Natural, Mama Africa, we need peace. Home sweet home, everybody for feel free. Check my people and check the beauty. Me my duty, we're trying to make it a better place for us, and I believe it's gonna happen in God we trust. Straight from the bottom all the way up to top. I prophesy it shall come to pass. Amen. From dust to grass, from grass to grace, but it's left to us to make it happen on a daily basis. Back to back, Africa stand for peace. Let's face the facts.
Asante Nyerere baba, tunajivunia upendo wetu na amani, tena pia Mugabe bendera baba, tunajivunia upendo wetu na amani, tumejaliwa mengi, tena mengi, majengo milima mbuga mpija yetu, tazama mengi, tena mengi, mito milima mbuga mpija yetu.
some more summer